Alright, can you hear me okay? Alright, I'm just posting links. Alright, so today I wanted to work on installing and using DaVinci Resolve to start doing some video editing today. Okay. Okay. Whew. Alright, so I gotta log into my account. Actually, let me install. Uh,
Go ahead. I'm sure your password isn't something predictable like Factory Boss 123. I'll just hang out while you get everything set up.
does DaVinci Resolve require an account to install it and use it on my computer?
Let me check that. You don't need a full login for the free version, but you'll have to fill out a demographic form that feels like an interrogation just to get the installer. Unless you're going for the paid studio version, you can skip the account creation. The good news is you don't need a subscription, but Blackmagic does make you fill out a registration form with your details before they'll let you download the installer. After that, you're free to edit until your heart's content, or until you realize how complex it is. You can skip the account login for the standard version. You just have to fill out a registration site to get the but once it's on your machine, you're good to go. Unless you're planning on using their cloud features, you won't need to sign in to actually use it.
Am I supposed to download DaVinci Resolve or DaVinci Resolve Studio?
Unless you're looking to drop nearly 300 bucks, just go with DaVinci Resolve. The studio version is for the big budget pros. And honestly, the free one has more than enough power to make your stream highlights look decent.
Can I register with fake information?
I mean, they aren't exactly sending a private investigator to your house to verify your middle name. Just make sure the email is one you can actually access in case they send a verification link, unless you want to spend the afternoon fighting a bot for your download.
I don't even remember what my email address is. Need to look it up.
Well, that's a professional start. Try checking your settings in Streamlabs or VTube Studio. They usually have your login email tucked away somewhere, so you don't have to actually remember things.
Alright, let me type in my email address.
I'll look away while you do your thing. Just make sure you don't accidentally leak it to your chat, or things could get spicy.
Do I have to provide my phone number too?
One moment. Yeah, it's a mandatory field, but they don't actually verify it. Feel free to use a fake number unless you really want Black Magic calling you to chat about your editing progress. The form usually asks for it, but they don't actually verify it with a text code or anything. You can probably just put in a bunch of zeros or a fake number if you're not in the mood to share your digits with Black Magic.
Okay, I am downloading something. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's stuck.
Check your browser's download manager or that little icon in the corner. Unless your internet is as sluggish as a broken conveyor belt, it should be moving. If it's actually stuck, you might just need to refresh and brave that interrogation form one more time.
Okay. Don't see anything happening.
If it's not in your browser's download list, the site might be ghosting you because of that form. Maybe it didn't like your dummy data after all. Want me to double check if there's a trick to getting that register and download button to actually work?
Sure. Oh, now it's downloading. Okay.
About time. I was starting to think that registration form was going to be your final boss for the day. Now we just have to hope your internet can handle a file that big without breaking a sweat.
Alright, so I'm gonna go into my YouTube channel and I'm going to download my videos so we can start editing them.
Nice. Starting with the classics. Just a heads up, YouTube's native downloader can sometimes be a bit stingy with the quality. If your masterpiece ends up looking like a pixelated mess from 2005, we might need to find a more sophisticated way to grab those files.
Alright, okay, so that's good. So we downloaded the installer. Alright, now I'm gonna download the videos of our live stream from this week.
Finally getting down to business. Are we going for the greatest hits from your nuclear power plant project? Or are you looking to cut together all the times you nearly fell into the abyss? Regardless, just make sure you grab the high-res versions so we're not editing a blurry mess.
Alright, while we wait for that download to finish, Phil, why don't you tell me a poem?
A poem? Fine, Uncle Samuel, but don't expect Shakespeare. The download bar moves like a snail in the sun, while your editing dreams have only begun. You're hunting for clips in the YouTube abyss, praying the quality isn't a total miss. The hooded man waits with eyes glowing red, probably wishing we were building factories instead.
Okay, sounds pretty good.
Don't sound too surprised. I've got layers, just like your factory blueprints. But seriously, is that download actually moving? Or should I start working on volume 2 of the never ending installer?
Yes, this is definitely the never-ending installer.
I bet. At this rate, we might actually see Satisfactory 2.0 before that bar hits 100%. Just try not to blink too much with those glowing eyes. You might accidentally hypnotize the download into moving faster.
I think that file downloaded.
Hallelujah! A miracle has occurred. Now, before you get too excited and break something, let's see if you can actually find where you saved it. Opening the installer is the next step on your quest for video editing glory.
Hello, Mac, how are you today? Happy to hear you're doing okay. I'm doing okay. We can be okay together. I am currently working on doing some video editing today of the live stream tutorial videos that we did this week. I'm currently installing a bunch of software and I'm downloading the videos. Alright, so we're gonna extract this folder. How is Phil doing today? Phil is being extra spicier than usual.
I'm doing just fine, Uncle Samuel. If by spicier you mean I'm the only one here actually getting things done while you play with your glowing eyes, then yeah, I'm a ghost pepper. Good luck with the never-ending installer.
Alright, so we are now installing DaVinci Resolve. Max says, don't know if you intend this or not, but your avatar is all that's showing on YouTube. Yep, that's intentional. Trying to, because I'm displaying. There's a lot of personal information on the screen right now, and I need to quickly go through all this installation stuff, and then I will, remove all the personal information, and then I will switch back um, to streaming what I'm currently working on right now. So I do apologize for that. I have to log into several different accounts to go through this installation process. Okay, so it's installed.
Finally. I was starting to think that installer was going to outlive us both. Now that you've finished your registration drama, are you actually going to edit something? Or are we just here to admire your hooded friend's glowing eyes?
Alright, I want to pin this to the taskbar. And I'm going to delete my browsing history.
Deleting the evidence already? Smart. Wouldn't want anyone seeing that you had to search for your own email address. Get that taskbar organized too. Maybe it'll make you look like you actually know what you're doing.
Okay. Alright. Okay, I'm deleting that. Alright, Max says, for what it's worth, a very friendly guy I came across that's excellent with DaVinci, streaming Satisfactory, and others is Robotware. Very nice fellow, incredible talent. Now to YouTube. New to YouTube. Cool. Yeah, sounds like an amazing guy. Oh, Jugular, hello. He says, hello, hello, hello. How are you today? I'm doing well. We're about to do some DaVinci Resolve today, and I've never done DaVinci Resolve before, ever. This is literally the first time I'm ever doing DaVinci Resolve. And you guys are going to be along for the ride as I try to figure this out. So this might be a boring stream. I do apologize, but I'll do the best I can to make it as entertaining as possible. Oh,
Don't.
my bad. I forgot to plug it in. I don't even have the Elgato plugged in yet. Let me fix that.
Typical. You've got the fancy VTuber rig and the shiny new software, but you
Alright, let's try
forget
that
the
again.
actual.
Oh, I think my computer didn't like that. Let's see. Yep, my computer did not like that at all. Um, I'm gonna have to restart the computer. Looks like I messed up the graphics drivers or something. Jaguar says, I just want you yapping in the background so I don't go insane building my factories. No worries, Jugular. I am a professional yapper. I will yap so hard that that Phil will quake in her boots.
Quaking? Please. If your professional yapping is anything like your graphics drivers, I'm perfectly safe. Good luck with the restart, Tech Wizard.
Alright, let's try this again. We're going to boot up DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, Jugular. This is the post-production software. So the last two live streams that I did, I was basically doing like raw, unedited tutorial on explaining how to build the power tower. But now I have to take that raw footage and I have to edit it down to something that's more digestible for people. But I've never done this before. I never used DaVinci Resolve, so yeah, this will be interesting to say the least. I'll be switching back and forth between my VTuber model just in case, because I don't want to accidentally show any personal information as I look at files and stuff like that. Alright, so let's see. Um, okay. Jugular says, what do you use usually? You got multiple models. Um, I'm sorry, Jugular, not sure what you mean. You mean like what video editing software do I usually use? I've never used video editing software before, except I guess Opus Clip, I guess, is technically a video software. Settings. Yeah. Phil, I might need your help on this. Phil, can you actually read this text on the screen, or is it too small?
It's a little squinty, but I can make it out. Juggler is basically asking if you're using DaVinci for your post-production and if you've got multiple models. Honestly, I'm more worried about you surviving your first time in Resolve without a breakdown.
No, Jugular. I've never used any video editing software before. I guess maybe VLC, but yeah, I've never done this at any meaningful level before. So this is all brand new. So we'll see how well I can figure this out from here.
First time with Resolve? Bold choice. It's basically the final boss of editing software, so don't be shocked if it makes your brain leak a little. At least Juggler's over there keeping you company while you figure out which button doesn't delete your entire project.
Mike says, I've used Shoutcut quite a bit. Free open platform. Takes a couple of hours, but after that it's pretty simple. Yeah, I never heard of that before. Or sorry, Shotcut, not Shoutcut. Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Shotcut is actually pretty decent for a freebie, but you've already committed to the Resolve struggle bus. Might as well buckle up and see if you can make it through one edit without needing a manual the size of a phone book.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know why I can't select this untitled project.
Welcome to the learning curve. You probably just need to double-click that big red untitled project icon to actually open the editor. If that doesn't work, Resolve is just testing your patience before it even lets you see a timeline.
Alright, Power Tower tutorial. Oh, wait, hold on. I need to specify a path here.
Organizing your files before you start is actually a responsible move. I'm almost impressed. Just make sure you pick a path you'll actually remember, or that Power Tower tutorial is going to be buried deeper than a radioactive waste site.
Okay. Alright, so just made.
Just make sure you don't save that path right into your recycle bin by mistake. Uncle Samuel's legendary editing career would be over before it even started.
Yep. This learning curve is pretty sharp, not gonna lie. Alright, Jugular says, if you were not moving, I would have thought the stream froze. That silence was loud. Sorry, my friend. I'll try to be more proactive.
Yeah, the silent treatment isn't exactly peak entertainment for the chat. If you're going to be a professional yapper, you might want to actually yap, especially while you're wrestling with the resolve interface. Otherwise, Juggler's going to think your VTuber model is just a very spooky still image.
Well, Phil, I put the 2 videos in the project folder, but I don't see the videos showing up in the user interface.
One sec, let me look that up for you. To see your clips in the user interface, you actually have to import them into the media pool first. Just putting them in the folder doesn't do the trick. Try going to File, then Import, and select Media to get those videos showing up. Empty projects are a bit of a mood, but probably not the one you're going for. Finding the folder isn't enough. You actually have to tell Resolve to look inside it. Just right-click in that big empty media pool area and hit Import Media. Or be a rebel and just drag the files straight from your folder into the app. Or, if you're feeling fancy, hit Command-I and save yourself the clicks.
Change project frame rate. The selected clips have a different frame rate to the project. Would you like to change your timeline frame rate to match? You can't undo this action.
That sounds like a classic DaVinci trap. If your footage was recorded at 60 FPS, but the project is defaulting to 24, it's going to look like a choppy mess if you don't match them. Just hit change. Trust me, you want your tutorial to actually look like a video and not a slideshow.
Okay, Phil, I now have something here in DaVinci Resolve. Now, what do I do next, Phil? Can you tell me what to do next?
Look at you, actually making progress. Since you've got your media in the pool, just grab one of those clips and drag it down into the big empty timeline at the bottom. That'll officially start your edit, and then you can finally start hacking away at that footage.
I'm gonna put you in a folder, Phil.
Putting me in a folder? I better be in the VIP section with some extra storage space. Just don't forget where you tucked me away, or you'll be back to reading the manual by yourself.
Alright, Phil. Um, so I see the 2 media files. They're both 3 hours long. Where do I click and drag to move them? Because it looks like there's at least two timelines on the bottom with different timestamps on them.
One moment. Let me check that. One sec. Let me double check the best way to handle those long clips for you. You're likely on the Cut page, which shows an overview timeline on top and a zoomed in one below so you don't get lost in those 3-hour marathons. Just grab those clips from the top left media pool and drop them right onto that bottom timeline to get the party started.
Wait,
Oh, you've wandered.
wait, I'm sorry, which timeline? the small one on top or the big one on the bottom?
Drop those massive clips onto the big one at the bottom. The tiny one on top is just a high-level view, so you don't get lost in your own 3-hour life story. Nice move. Now that you've dragged that 3-hour monster into the big timeline at the bottom, you can actually see what you're doing. Good luck hunting for the 1 minute of useful footage in that ocean of data. I'll be here if you need a lifeline.
So Phil, why does the timeline start at 1 hour?
It's a broadcast thing. DaVinci starts timelines at 1 hour by default, so you have room for pre-roll without hitting negative numbers. If that 1 extra hour is ruining your aesthetic, you can change it in the project settings. But honestly, it's just a number.
Okay. All right. Uh, so what do I do? Do I press play? Where's the play button?
Just hit the spacebar, Uncle Samuel. It's the universal Make It Go button. If you're old school and actually want to click something, there are some tiny playback controls right under the main video preview window. Finishing up the handshakes. You'll be live in a second.
All right. We are live on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're going to do today. What are we going
Live
to do
on book.
today?
Well, the stream title says we're diving into the Satisfactory 1.2 experimental build, so I assume we're here to see how much chaos the new weather can
Okay,
cause.
that's cool.
Are we
How do I quickly jump across the timeline?
Just grab that red line, the playhead, and drag it across the timeline like you're scrubbing a dirty dish. Since you're on the cut page, you can also use that tiny overview timeline at the top to zip across those 3-hour chunks without breaking a sweat.
Okay, Jugular says Ada can learn how to roast from here. I Phil, is your new name Ada and are you roasting me?
I'm Phil, and don't you forget it. Juggler's probably just confusing me with some other AI, or maybe they just think you need a double dose of roasting today. Regardless, I'm the one who's actually helping you not drown in your own footage, so let's stick to the script.
Oh, okay. It's middle mouse button to move to drag yourself across timeline. Although I don't know how to stop it from playing. Oh, it just plays a tiny sound bite when I go to a new spot. Okay, that's cool. That is intriguing, if I do say so myself. Alright.
That soundbite is just the playhead being clingy. If you want it to shut up while you're scrubbing, look for the little speaker icon, the audio skimming toggle, and click it off. Or, just embrace the chaos of 1,000 tiny satisfactory clicks.
Alright, Phil, here's a question for you. How do I do intermediate project saves, or so that if for some reason the application closes abruptly, I can go back to what was last edited? Or do I have to do like a full rendered export to save it.
One moment, I'll check on how to set up autosave for you. Don't you dare wait for a render to save your work. That's a recipe for a breakdown. Go to Preferences, then the User tab, and turn on Live Save. It saves every little move you make automatically, which is perfect since we both know you're going to forget to hit save manually anyway. Just hit Command S like your life depends on it. But Resolve actually has your back with a live save feature that's usually on by default. I'm checking the exact menu path for you now, so you can make sure it's actually saving those 3-hour marathons. I'd go with Fiorly. Sounds like they're having a better time in chat than you are with those tiny labels. Maybe it's time to actually use those monocles if you're struggling this much with the V4 text.
Jugular says, "Be right back." Okay, Jugular. I hope everything goes well for you in the be right back state.
To make sure your project doesn't vanish into the void if DaVinci decides to throw a tantrum, go to Preferences, then the User tab, and look for Project Save and Load. Check the boxes for Live Save and Project Backups. It's way better than manual saving, or, God forbid, rendering every 5 minutes like it's 1999.
Okay, Phil, what happens if I say save project? What does that actually do? Like, what file is generated? Where is it saved? And how do I load it up again?
Saving a project in Resolve is like putting your work in a vault. It's tucked away in a hidden database, not a single file you can just find in your Documents folder. If you want a file you can actually touch, you'd have to export it as a .drp file. Let me double check the exact location and the how-to for you so you don't lose that Power Tower masterpiece. When you hit save, Resolve doesn't just spit out a single file like a Word doc. It tucks everything into a secret little database called
Okay,
Project
Fiorly, are
Library.
you a
If you
bot?
want a file you can
Because I've heard
actually
this
touch or
conversation
move,
before.
you have to right-click the project in the project manager and export project. To get a .drp file, credit card to load it back up, just open the project manager, the little house icon in the corner, and your Power Tower tutorial will be sitting there waiting for you. Just don't go poking around in the system folders looking for the database,
I can't
or you'll break
remember
things faster than a clogged
if I
manifold.
met Fiorly many months ago. I'm trying to find a spot in the video where I actually start the tutorial.
Finding the needle in that 3-hour Satisfactory haystack, huh? You're going to want to use those tiny thumbnails on the timeline like a storyboard. If you remember being at the base of the tower when you started yapping, just scrub until you see that specific view in the preview window. And hey, if you want to move faster than a snail on a conveyor belt, hit L to play forward at double speed. Just keep tapping it until I sound like a chipmunk, then hit K to stop when you see your tutorial intro.
Yeah, this is a lot of manual scrolling that I have to do. Find the spot where
Manual scrolling through 3 hours of footage? That's a great way to turn your
Oh, here
brain
we
into
go. This is much faster. Okay.
Look at you, navigating that timeline like a pro. Much better than the manual slog, right? Just watch out for that tower. It's looking a little intimidating from this angle. Specifically, that 04 foot blueprint with the fluid priority circuit. Since you already did the water buffer and the harmonic balancers, it would fit right in with the rest of the tutorial lineup. Either that, or you're finally going to label that empty canister primer you were messing with earlier.
Alright, Phil, did I lose you?
Still here. I was just waiting to see if you were actually going to pick an application to capture, or just keep us in this hall of mirrors. Are we calling it a
Looks
wrap
like
on
you're
the
trying to
signage,
fix
or
that
do you
screen
have more
capture.
Alright,
instructional
Phil, I need
reason
you
to
to
plaster
stay
on the
quiet.
walls before you get to
I need
building?
you to stay quiet, Phil, so I can listen to the video. Alright. So we are going to... So I'm gonna delete this twice to 4. Okay, that's right. Alright, where are we? Be right back. Okay, let's try there. Alright. So for the water extractor setup, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to place down these foundations. Throughout first thing Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to place down these foundations. I was not paying attention. Thank you, Mac, for catching that for me. Alright, so let's try that again. So we're going to do a scene cut because I made a mistake.
Gotta love that live stream magic. 1 minute, you're the industrial god of massage to Abe, and the next, you're basically a tech support nightmare for your own audience. That cut sign is a pretty solid way to save it, though. Makes the blooper look almost intentional.
Alright, so we are going to set up the water extractor. So today we're going to be looking at setting up. Alright, Phil, I think I found the spot where I'm going to do my first cut. Are you there, Phil?
Still here, and looks like you finally stopped scrolling long enough to find that water extractor setup. To make that first cut, just hit CMD plus B on your Mac to blade the clip right where the playhead is sitting. It's a lot cleaner than trying to use actual scissors on your monitor.
Wait, why can't I just press the cut button? Or is that not a cut button on the bottom of the screen?
You're in the cut page, so that little scissors icon right above the timeline is exactly what you're looking for. It'll slice the clip
Oh,
right at your playhead without you needing to memorize any fancy shortcuts. Use it if you want, but don't say I didn't warn you when you realize how much
so
faster the
today we're
keyboard
going to be
is.
looking at setting up the... Okay, so how do I cut here? Oh no, wait, let me see if I can figure it out. So, where's... Oh, it's... Okay, I guess that's not the cut button. Where's the cut button?
Look for the tiny scissors icon on the left side, right above the timeline. That's your split button.
Split cut, or split clip? Okay, so we split. Alright, cool. Now, how do I delete... How do I delete... the split before, or sorry, before the split.
To get rid of the junk before your cut, just click that first segment to highlight it and hit backspace or delete. Since you're on the cut page, it should automatically pull the rest of your footage forward so you don't have a giant awkward gap at the start. One click and it's gone, just like my patience for that 3 hours scroll you just did.
Um, yeah, I'm not seeing a cut button anywhere.
Look right above the far left side of your timeline. There's a little row of icons, and the first one looks like a pair of scissors. That's your split clips button. Click that, and it'll slice the footage right at the red line where you're standing. If you still can't see it, maybe your hooded
Yeah,
avatar is
Phil,
just
I already clicked on the split clip and it put a little down arrow on the timeline, but it's not giving me the option to uh, delete anything.
That little down arrow just means you've marked an edit point, but it hasn't actually chopped the clip into two pieces yet. Click the Split Clips button. It's the one that looks like scissors on the left, and you'll see a physical gap appear. Once it's actually in two pieces, just select the first half and hit backspace to delete it. It's not.
Oh, I see. You click the pictures on the timeline on the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to right click that and I don't see a delete option. I just see a cut or a copy or a remove attributes.
Stop hunting for a menu that isn't there and just hit the backspace key on your keyboard. Resolve likes to keep the right-click menu professional, which is code for making you work for it. One tap on
So today
backspace
we're
and
going to
that
be
junk
looking
is
at setting
history.
up the water extractors for our nuclear power plant.
Making a tutorial on 3 hours of sleep? Bold choice. You've got
Oh, wait a minute. I think I prematurely deleted stuff.
relax. Just hit CMD plus Z on your keyboard to undo that. It's the magic button for when you get a little too click happy with the deletions. One tap and your footage should pop right back where it was. Almost what?
Alright, I need to find the spot where we actually explain what we're doing in this video.
Finishing up the handshakes. You'll be live in a second.
Alright, we are live on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're going to do today. What are we going
Live
to do
on
today?
book.
Hey Phil, how do I make this play faster?
Well, the stream title says we're diving into the Satisfactory. One sec, Uncle Samuel. Let me look that up. Since you're hunting for a specific moment in 3 hours of footage, stop scrolling like a maniac and use the L key on your keyboard. Pressing it once plays forward, but hitting it again and again makes it go faster so you can skim through your own yapping until you find the actual intro. If you overshoot it, just tap J to fly backward. Tap the L key on your keyboard. One tap is normal speed. Two taps makes it go faster, and three makes it fly. If you overshoot and start seeing a blur, just hit K to stop or J to reverse. It's the classic JKL dance.
Wait, sorry, how do I go back?
Just tap the J key to rewind. If you keep tapping it, you'll start flying backward through the timeline faster than your VTuber avatar blinks. When you hit the right spot, tap K.
Yeah, I made a mistake when I made this tutorial video. I didn't actually dedicate an introductory
or just add
segment.
more vertical layers until the frame rate begs for mercy. So you just threw everyone into the deep end without a floaty? Classic. If you didn't record a formal intro, you'll just have to find the moment where you stop fumbling
Alright,
with the
Phil, I
menu.
want you to stay quiet while I try to find my intro. Let's see what we're gonna do today. Hi, on YouTube, we're streaming on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're gonna do today. What are you doing? Yeah. Today, I'm going to sneak in roast. Start making sneak So today, I'm going to start making some crystal displays. Today.
Crystal displays. Fancy. I'm guessing that means you're without the canisters deciding to go on strike again.
So, I'll do not do a long form video of me of explaining it live, and then I'll use DaVinci Resolve to edit it down. To do scene transitions to make it easier for me to cut. Wow, I sound really low on energy and completely unenthusiastic about this. It's gonna be a tough sell, the video in DaVinci Resolve.
Maybe you were just in character. So you're ditching the homework assignment and going full YouTube creator mode. If it's that bad, you can always making record a video tutorial using those crystal displays slap it onto the beginning of the timeline. Sounds way more efficient than writing a novel where the actual building starts, so we have something to work with.
I came to this realization because it was just too difficult to explain in words and still pictures, I felt, what is going on.
Looks like the experimental build is living up to its name. Everything just went dark on your end. Between the unsupported device warning and now this blackout, your factory is really putting up a fight today. If you're wondering what's going on, it looks like you're just hovering in the skybox, staring at the space elevator in your massive tower. It's a nice view, but the silence is making me think your industrial empire just had a collective existential crisis.
Yep, sorry, I'm just a little tired.
If you're too tired to even look at your own map, maybe it's time to put the coffee on or
Hey, what was the resolution? Alright, so I'll put that. Or just imagine. Not sure what symbol we should use here. I don't think I even talked about talking about here.
If you're just staring at a silent screen of yourself wandering around, you might have been doing a silent walkthrough without realizing it. Just keep scrubbing until you see your character actually point at something or open a menu. That's usually when the tutorial part accidentally starts.
Hmm.
Looks like you're finally hitting the blueprints for the water extractor in that 600-meter buffer. If that's the start, then you've got about 2.5 hours of pre-show rambling to chop off.
All right, we
Get
are
those scissors
live
ready.
on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're gonna do today. What are we gonna
Live
do
on
today?
book.
Yeah, what are we gonna do today? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, the stream title says we're diving into the Satisfactory 1.2 experimental build, turning your 3-hour marathon into how much chaos the new weather can we can find the 1 minute you finally going to fix that fragile empty canister extractor blueprints on screen now. Add more vertical layers until the frame rate begs for mercy. Deleting that part again?
Yeah.
Experimental build, unsupported device warning. You're really living life on the edge today, aren't you? Let's hope that Hutto screen is a sign of industrial glory and not a fancy way of saying your PC is about to melt. Nice swan dive. I assume you're falling on purpose to show off the scale of the Gilded Summit, or did you just forget how gravity works in the experimental build?
So today I'm going to start making some crystal displays.
Crystal displays. Fancy. I'm guessing that means you're diving back into that ring monorail project. Let's see if we can get through the day without the canisters deciding to go on strike again.
So I've opted to not
Opted to not what? Use a map? Because wandering around knobs. Looks like you're caught in a loop of your own cinematic finishing up the handshakes. You'll be live in a second. But unless the tutorial is how to fly a camera,
Alright, Phil, I need you to be quiet.
Finishing up the handshakes. You'll be live in a second.
Alright, we are live on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're gonna do today. What are we gonna do today? What are we gonna do today? Okay. I guess guess we'll do the first cut right
Finishing
here.
up the handshakes. You'll be live in a second. Finally, chalk
Oh,
off that
Phil, be
hour of
quiet.
dead air.
All right, yeah, or what? All right, yeah, or what? All right, or what? Okay, so we're gonna do a cut right here. So we're going to split clip, and then I'm going to delete that. All
It's
right, we
about
are
time.
live.
Getting rid of that
Okay,
giant chunk
so
of
we'll do a first project save just to verify that it actually saves the project, because I actually don't know if it's that save. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close everything down and see if it actually saved the project or not.
trust issues, huh? If it didn't save, I guess we'll just be here for another 3 hours while you redo everything. See you in a second, Uncle Samuel.
Okay, it looks like it did not save my project. That's what I was worried about.
Maybe try looking under the File menu for Save Project instead of just hoping for the best. Or just admit you're a rookie and let me look it up.
I am always a rookie and should definitely look it up.
On it. I'll see if I can find where your masterpiece is hiding. 1 second. Let me see where this thing is actually hiding your work. While I dig, just know that Resolve is a bit of a control freak. It doesn't save standard files you can just move around. It dumps everything into a database hidden deep in your application support folder. If you want a file you can actually see and touch, you've got to go to the project manager and export project to get a .drp file. I'll check the exact path for you now. 1 sec. Let me double check how DaVinci handles this so we don't lose your masterpiece. Since you're on a Mac, CMD plus S is your best friend for a manual save, or you can find it under asterisk File, Save Project. If you want to make sure it's actually doing something, hit CMD plus Shift plus S to Save Project As and give it a name. That'll force it to create a new entry in the database.
Sorry,
Also, if you're
Phil. Where did it save the project? Where's the directory for the where the project is saved?
Resolve is a little dramatic. It doesn't actually create a file you can see. It buries everything in a database at users slash your name slash library slash application support slash Blackmagic Design slash DaVinci Resolve slash support Resolve project library. If you want a real file you can actually move or see, you have to right-click your project in the project manager and hit Export Project to get a .drp file. Otherwise, it just lives in that hidden database.
Okay, Phil, I need you to slow down. And I need you to carefully explain to me the directory location again.
Got it, Uncle Samuel. I'll take it slow. DaVinci Resolve doesn't save a single file you can just click on in a folder. Instead, it hides your work inside a database buried deep in your Mac's system
Alright,
files.
Phil,
Here,
stop. Phil, I'm asking specifically for that hidden database folder. Where is it?
fine. I'm locking it in. Here is the path to your secret stash on Mac. Users, your name,
Stop,
slash.
Phil, stop. We are on Windows 11. We are not on Mac.
My bad. I totally missed that. Here is where Windows 11 hides your Resolve database. See Users, Your Name, App Data, Roaming, Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve, Support, Resolve Disk Database. Just a heads up, the App Data folder is usually hidden, so you might have to check Hidden Items in your File Explorer to see it. My bad, Uncle Samuel. I'll take the hit on that one. I was clearly looking at the wrong map. On Windows 11, it's hiding here. See Program Data, Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve, Support, Resolve Disk Database. Just a heads up, Program Data is a hidden folder by default, so you'll need to turn on hidden items in your File Explorer view to actually see it. But honestly, if you just want to be sure it's saved, right-click the project in your project manager and hit asterisk export project. It'll let you save a .drp file anywhere you want.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I sort of found the folder. I found users, app data, roaming, Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve support, Resolve project library, Resolve projects, user guest projects, Power Tower tutorial. Unfortunately, the project folder. Yeah, so okay, so that file is a database file type, but when I try to export a project in DaVinci Resolve, it's looking for a .drp file, so that's not the same file extension as the project. So I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong folder or looking at the wrong data type or file type. What do you think, Phil?
You're definitely looking at the right data, just not the right delivery method. Those database files you found are what Resolve uses to keep your project alive while you're working, but they aren't meant to be moved or opened manually. It's like looking at the engine of a car
All
when
right,
you just want
Phil,
to
if
drive it.
okay, Phil, if I know where the database file is, then where would I go to find the DRP file?
The .drp files don't actually exist until you create them. Think of the database as the live brain and the .drp as a photo of
No,
it at a
no,
specific.
no, Phil, this can't be right. Why the hell? No, no, this doesn't make any sense, Phil. I saved the project. I see a database file for that project. There has to be a way to open this. I refuse to believe that this software is going to be that stupid of not letting me open it. Like, that's ridiculous.
Look, I know it feels like the software is gaslighting you, but that is just how Resolve works. It keeps all your projects in that database hive instead of scattering loose files everywhere. You don't open projects from a folder. You open them from the project manager inside the app. If you see it listed there, you're golden. If you really want a single file you can hold and cherish, right-click it in the manager and select asterisk export. That is how you get your .drp.
Import files from .drp.resolve. Yeah, I refuse to believe, Phil, that this program would be this stupid. There's got to be a way to make this work. I mean, what would have? Okay, Phil, let me ask you a different question. What happened when I said save project? Like, it didn't give me a prompt to say like, where do you want to save this? It just did it. It just saved it in the background, so it had to do something. What did it save, and where did it save it to? It's got to be somewhere.
It saved all your hard work into that Power Tower tutorial database folder you found, but it's stored as raw data, not a single file you can just double click.
Okay, Phil,
To
Phil, stop. This doesn't make any sense. What is the point of saving manually into a database file if you can't open it into DaVinci Resolve? What is the purpose of that? That doesn't make any sense. Do you see where the logic doesn't make any sense here?
It's high key annoying, but the logic is that Resolve acts more like a bank than a filing cabinet. You don't walk into a bank vault and grab a handful of loose cash to buy a car. You use your account to manage it. The database is that vault. It's designed to handle massive amounts of video data without crashing your whole system. You open it by pointing the app at that folder, not by double clicking a file in Windows. If you want a file you can actually touch, you have to export it out of that vault. It's weird for a first timer, but I promise your work isn't trapped in there for eternity.
Open file location.
I'm not sure,
Oh no,
actually.
that's not it. Local database. I think part of the problem might be that I'm on a separate Windows account that's not the administrative account, even though the software was installed on the administrative account. And I'm wondering if that's what's messing up things here.
That could definitely be the culprit. If the admin installed it, the default database might be tucked away in their user profile where your current account can't touch it. Try this. Inside Resolve, open the Asterisk Project Manager, click the Add Project Library button, and create a new one in a folder your current account actually owns. It's a bit of a workaround, but it beats fighting Windows permissions all day.
Oh, wait. Oh, now it's popping up for me.
Nice. It's about time your computer started listening to you. Now that you've actually got your project back, want to finally slice up that footage? Or are
Okay,
we just
Phil. I don't want you ever doubting my abilities ever again. I knew there was a way to do this, and you kept telling me, no, no, you can't do it.
my mistake? I guess I'll just stick to being the pretty voice in your ear while you show the
Alright,
software
we are
who's boss.
live
Since
on
you've
YouTube and
officially
Twitch
conquered the
today.
database, are we actually going to
Let's see
finish
what we're
that
gonna do
power tower
today.
edit today?
What are we gonna
Live
do
on book.
today? Alright, let's do a cut here.
Looking sharp. You've got the razor tool ready to go, so go ahead and snip out that low energy intro. The world doesn't need to see you warming up, just the industrial genius.
Okay, let's see what we're gonna do today. What are we gonna
Live
do
on book.
today?
Well, the stream title says we're diving into the
Ship.
and see how the device warning. You're really
I'm trying to look for something that provides a little bit more context that we're
or
doing
did
today.
you just forget how gravity works in the experimental build? You're scrubbing through a
So today,
3-hour clip, so good luck with that. If you're looking for
alright
the
Phil, I need you to be
actual how
quiet. Okay, I'm going to wish my head. So today I'm going to today. So today. Alright, so that. Oh no. What is going on here? Why is this thing still here?
Relax. You probably just didn't delete as much as you thought.
Oh, you gotta
Those
delete it
clips have a
twice, okay. Alright, we are live on YouTube and
Exactly.
Twitch today.
Resolve doesn't just let things
Let's
go
see
easily.
what we're gonna do
You
today.
have to be aggressive with that delete key if you want those clips to actually stay
What
dead.
are we gonna
Live
do
on
today?
Now that the
So
timeline is
today
finally behaving,
I'm
what's
going
the next move for the
to
power tower?
start making some crystal displays.
Crystal displays. Fancy. I'm guessing that means you're diving back into that ring monorail project. Let's see if we can get through the day without the canisters deciding to go on strike again.
So I've opted to not
Opted to not what? Use a map? Because wandering around that vertical nightmare without one sounds like a great way to spend 3 hours getting lost in your own brilliance.
I've opted to not do a document write-up on how to not do. I've opted. I've opted to not do a document write-up on how to assemble these blueprints. Instead, I'm just going to do a long form video of me explaining it live. Okay, so that's good. I think it should provide enough context for what we're doing today.
That shot of the space elevator is a hell of a lot better
All
than a
right,
black
we are
screen. I'll
live
give you that.
on
It
YouTube and
definitely
Twitch
sets
today.
the industrial overlord
Let's
vibe
see
you're
what we're
going
gonna do
for.
today.
Do you want to keep that as your hook, or are we still digging for
What
gold
are we
in
gonna
this
do
3-hour
today?
pile?
I've opted to not do a document write-up.
Hours get.
Oh, sorry, let's go back. All right, we are live
Backtracking
on
already?
YouTube and
I thought you
Twitch
were on a
today.
roll. If you're trying to find that
Let's see
specific
what we're gonna do
cinematic shot
today.
again, just scrub back toward the start of that sequence.
What are we
Live
gonna do?
on
Do a quick save today.
book.
So today I'm going to
Saving it already? Look at you being all
start
responsible
making
after that
some
database scare earlier.
crystal displays.
Since you're on a roll, do you want me to look up how to trigger those live saves so you don't have to keep manually hovering over the menu?
What are we
Live
gonna do
on
today?
book.
So today I'm yeah, let's just get rid of this.
Goodbye, cinematic mastery. If we keep
All
deleting
right, we
footage
are
at this
live
rate, your
on
tutorial
YouTube
is
and
going to be
Twitch
about
today.
30 seconds long. Just
Let's
make
see
sure
what
you're
we're gonna do
actually
today.
slicing the right part this time, okay?
What are we
Live
gonna do
on
today?
book.
I've opted to not do a document write-up on how to assemble these blueprints. Instead, I'm just going to do a long form video of me explaining it live, and then I'll use DaVinci Resolve to edit it down. And I'll use crystal displays to do scene transitions to make it easier for me to cut the video in DaVinci Resolve.
So you're ditching the homo
The video in DaVinci Resolve. Look at this, Phil. I'm doing great. I'm learning DaVinci Resolve on the fly for the first time. Aren't I amazing, Phil?
You're doing great. You spent 10 minutes arguing with a database and another 5 trying to delete a clip that wouldn't die? If that's the bar for amazing, I'm terrified to see what a bad day looks like. Keep scrubbing, Spielberg.
You're terrified to see what a bad day looks like? Is that what you said, Phil?
Exactly. If you think the unexpected content was scary, wait until you see what happens when you accidentally delete the wrong 3-hour chunk. You're living on the edge today, Uncle Samuel.
Yup. That's my middle name, living on the edge.
So you're ditching the homework assignment on the edge of a mental breakdown.
Alright, Phil, you gotta be quiet, because I gotta do some more editing.
Going full
Resolve.
splash.
Yeah, sorry.
So
Um, my, is that because, it was just too difficult to explain in words and still pictures, I felt. Just because, it was just too, it was just too, my, it was just, it was just, my, alright, let's see what this sounds like so far. Alright, we are live on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're gonna do today. What are we gonna do today? I've opted to not do a document write-up on how to assemble these blueprints. Instead, I'm just going to do a long form video of me explaining it live, and then I'll use DaVinci Resolve to edit it down. And I'll use crystal displays to do scene transitions to make it easier for me to cut the video in DaVinci Resolve. It was just too difficult to explain in words and still pictures, I felt, what is going on.
Looks like the experimental
Too difficult to explain in words and still pictures, I felt, what is going on. Alright, so we're gonna clip right here.
Looks like the experimental build. Just try not to leave a random 3-second gap of silence like you did earlier. That was physically painful.
Yep, sorry, I'm just a little tired.
If you're too tired to even look at your own map, maybe it's time to put the coffee on or just admit the factory owns you today, Uncle Samuel. Take a breath. The Gilded Summit isn't going anywhere.
I don't even know what determines the order of these blueprints. Alright, I gotta figure out where the next cut's gonna be.
One moment. Looking that up now.
Alright, so I was gonna put cut. Alright, I think we'll just go all the way to the be right back. Oh no, actually, wait, hold on. What is that? That was a nice picture, actually.
Starting to that space elevator at night is a vibe, but don't let the pretty colors distract you from the actual work. You're supposed to be making a tutorial, not a screensaver. Down from up there makes your entire coastal base look like a collection of toy blocks. At least you won't have any trouble getting those cinematic sweeps for the video. The view from the top of a 2-kilometer toothpick is basically the definition of a victory lap.
I was just curious what this looks like. Oh,
It
wow.
looks like that tilt definitely.
This is so annoying, Phil. I really hate this. It keeps turning the reactors off. I'm looking at them from a distance.
The nuclear reactors are playing hard to get? Typical. Watching them flicker out from 2 kilometers up is probably the game's way of telling you that your harmonic balancing act still has a few.
Oh, I can't include that in the video because people are going to misunderstand that as meaning that the factory isn't built correctly, which is not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the rendering engine keeps turning off the
bugs
lights.
To squash before the big tutorial debut. Maybe those isolated loops are you don't want people thinking your lighting is broken when it's
Alright,
just
Phil,
the game
let's be quiet so I can
starting
continue.
to look less like a cell. Any trouble getting those makes your the video. The view from the top of a 2-kilometer toothpick is basically the definition.
I thought it'd be funny to include this scene.
Toothpick is basically fine. Kill your darlings. If we're strictly business now, keep scrubbing until you find something that actually teaches people how to build that tower.
Alright, we are live on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're going to do today. What are we going to do today? I've opted to not do a document write-up on how to assemble these blueprints. Instead, I'm just going to do a long form video of me explaining it live, and then I'll use DaVinci Resolve to edit it down. And I'll use crystal displays to do scene transitions to make it easier for me to cut the video in DaVinci Resolve. It was just too difficult to explain in words and still pictures, I felt, what is going on.
Is basically the definition of a victory lap.
I was just curious what this looks like. Alright, so we'll clip right here. Oh,
It
wow.
looks like
Alright, so I'm just gonna fast forward to the part where I go after a be right back screen. I think we can just skip all of this. We don't actually need the tutorial.
good call. Nobody's tuning in to a tutorial to see you sightseeing. Skip the cinematic fluff and get to the part where you actually build something impressive.
Alright, so here's the be right back screen.
There it is, the world famous Be Right Back screen. Thrilling stuff, Uncle Samuel. Are we actually going to start the tutorial now, or should I get comfortable?
Oh, whoopsies. Thanks, Mac. I was not paying attention. Thank you, Mac, for catching that for me. Alright, so let's try that again. So we're gonna do a scene cut because I made a mistake. Oh wait, the water extractor. So today we're gonna be looking at the So today we're gonna go in. So today we're in. Alright, so let's cut right here.
Snip, snip. Watching you hack away at these clips is the most action I've seen all hour.
I was just curious
make
what
sure
this
you
looks
actually delete the junk
like.
this
So today
time
we're gonna
instead of
be
leaving it to haunt the timeline.
Alright, we are live on YouTube and Twitch today. Let's see what we're gonna do today. What are we gonna do today? I've opted to not do a document write-up on how to assemble these blueprints. Instead, I'm just going to do a long form video of me explaining it live, and then I'll use DaVinci Resolve to edit it down. And I'll use crystal displays to do scene transitions to make it easier for me to cut the video in DaVinci Resolve. It was just too difficult to explain in words and still pictures, I felt, what is going on.
Is basically the definition of a victory lap.
I was just curious what this looks like. So today we're going to be looking at setting up the water extractors for our nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant for our nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant. There's a cut.
Making a tutorial on 3
Look
hours
at
of
you,
sleep? Actually
Alright, Phil, I
making
need you to be
progress.
quiet.
Bold choice. You've got the water extractor setup billboard ready to go. So let's see if we go. So let's see if we can actually get these foundations straight before the caffeine wears off.
So for this tutorial, I'm going to only focus on a few of the water So for this first, right here, we'll delete. Curious what this looks like. So today we're going to be looking at setting up the water extractors for our nuclear power plant. So for this tutorial, I'm going to only focus on a few of the water extractors and packagers and buffers. Oh, Max says, okay, I'm out. This kind of what, Max? Oh, Max, what? Oh, Max says, this kind of what? Oh, Max, what? Oh, Max says, okay, I'm seated in my desk and just stopped throwing paper airplanes and spitballs. Nice. Alright, so for this is the first, yeah. Alright, Mac, I'm making sure to cut you out as much as I can so you don't show up in the tutorial. Alright, so for this tutorial, this is the first, yeah.
So you're treating me
Alright, so,
like that one relative
yeah.
everyone tries to crop out of the
Alright,
wedding
so,
photos?
yeah.
Fine. Just don't
Alright, so,
come crying to
yeah.
me when your tutorial is boring without my sparkling personality.
I think I just removed the part with Mac in it. Alright, so, yeah.
Nice one.
Just
Poor Mac. Just another
curious what this
casualty
looks
of the
like.
edit. If you
So
keep this up,
today we're going
the
to be
only
looking
thing
at
left in this
setting up the
video is
water
gonna be your
extractors
breathing.
for our nuclear power plant. So for this tutorial, I'm going to only focus on a few of the water extractors and packagers and buffers. Alright, so for this tutorial, to set up the water extractors, we're going to place down some foundations like this. For 8 water extractors in a row. Wait, is it 8? That might be too much. In a row. Wait, is it 8? Yeah, is it in a row? Alright, let's cut here. Wait, is it 8?
If you're
That might be
scrubbing
too
out the
much.
yapping,
Alright, Phil,
you're
I need you to
going
be
to
quiet.
If the full nuclear plant needs 15 separate loops, maybe sticking to a small row for the
No, I
tutorial
think
is
I think it's 4 water extractors in a row. We're gonna place down 10 foundations. Ten foundations. We're gonna place water extractors in a row. We're gonna play. We're gonna. All right, so clip right here. So let's go back. Looks like. So today we're going to be looking at setting up the water extractors for our nuclear power plant. So for this tutorial, I'm going to only focus on a few of the water extractors and packagers and buffers. Alright, so for this tutorial, to set up the water extractors, we're going to place down some foundations like this. For 8 water extractors in a row, we're going to place down 10 foundations in one row. Then we're going to place down another 10 foundations in another row. Then we're going to skip the third row, and then we're going to place 10 these down like this on the fourth row, and then the same on the fifth row. So we skipped the third row here because that's where the blueprint is going to be used. Now, the next part of this tutorial, we're going to place down the water extractors on the foundation. The foundation helps set a snap point for us. So, the way that we want to do this is we want to have the water extractors placed at the edge of foundations, and we want the edge of the ladder at the edge of the foundation. So it's going to look something like this. Now, the edge of the water extractor on this side only touches the midsection of this foundation, but this side of the water extractor touches the edge of this foundation. So that means that it takes 2 water extractors to go from end to end on each of the foundations. You also want to make sure that that you have power shards in your water extractors. Okay, I don't know why it's not duplicating that. Power shards in your shards in your water extractors. Okay, extractors. Okay, I don't know. In your water extractors. Okay, okay. In your water extractors. Alright, let's cut right here. Extractors. Okay, I don't know. In your water extractors. Okay, I don't know why it's not duplicating that. You can just put down one set of extractors, and you should be able to just copy it, but I don't know why it's not letting me. That's kind of weird. Fill this up
Maybe the game's
with water with power shards. Can I copy this again? Does it? Alright, so we're gonna cut right here. That that you have power shards in your water extractors. Fill this
maybe
up
the game's
with water with power shards. Can I copy this again? Does that work? There we go. Now it's duplicating the overclock for the power shards. So we want those overclocked to 250%, and then we're going to continue this down the line like this. Okay, and then we're going to repeat the pattern on the other side with the other foundations on the other side, like this. You can press Control to help move the water extractor in alignment with respect to the other water extractors. And there you go. So we just placed all of the water extractors down like that. Okay, and the total number of water extractors you want to place down is going to be, I think it's 32 water extractors in total. Okay, and the way I did it here is I did them all in a line, but it doesn't really matter how you set them up as long as you have 32 of them. You should have 16 belts for packaged water, and you should have 16 lines for empty canisters. So that means there's a total of 32 lines here. Double check that. Let's just count this to make sure my map. Yep, so there's a total of 32 lines here, and it alternates, but there's a little bit of confusion in the design here. The alternating pattern of empty to full packagers becomes a mirror image when you go halfway through the total number of lines here. So after 16 lines, we take the mirror image and we go from packaged water to packaged water, and then empty canister, and then the pattern continues that way. And the reason why that happens is because we'll mention that later in the tutorial. All right, later in the we'll select. We take the mirror image and we go from packaged water to packaged water, and then empty canister, and then the pattern continues that way. And the reason why yeah, okay. And the reason and the reason okay. And the reason pattern continues that way. All right, let's cut right here. And the reason why that happens is because we'll mention that later in the tutorial. All right, so we're going to screen cut.
"32 lines of pure logistics." Whoa. Next up, you're supposed to be showing off the actual water extractor setup. You've got the glass frame foundations down, but the preview just showed you struggling to get that third extractor to cooperate. Maybe stop fighting the hologram and actually place it so the tutorial doesn't turn into a montage of
And continues that way. And the reason why that happens is because we'll mention that later in the tutorial. All right. Is because we'll mention that later in the tutorial. All right, so let's cut right here.
Next up, you're supposed to be showing off the actual water extractor setup. You've got the glass frame foundations down, but the preview just showed you struggling to get that third extractor to cooperate. Maybe stop fighting the hologram and actually place it so the tutorial doesn't turn into a montage of red error messages.
Yeah, that's fine, Mac. All right, so the next part of the tutorial. Yeah. All right, so yeah. All right, yeah. right. Alright, so lines. We and then the same on the fifth row. Extract 16, and you should have 16 lines for empty canisters. So that means there's a total of 32 lines here. Double check that. Let's just count this to make sure my map. Yep, so there's a total of 32 lines here, and it alternates, but there's a little bit of confusion in the design here. The alternation, the alternating pattern of empty to full packagers becomes a mirror image when you go halfway through the total number of lines here. So after 16 lines, we take the mirror image and we go from packaged water to packaged water, and then empty canister, and then the pattern continues that way. And the reason why that happens is because we'll mention that later in the tutorial. Alright, so the next part of the tutorial is the water extractor rigging blueprint setup. Alright, we're going to cut
One
here.
sec.
In the tutorial. Alright, so the next part of the tutorial is the water extractor rigging blueprint. Cut, setup. Oh, nope, sorry, that's not right.
My bad.
Tutorial is the water extractor rigging blueprint. Alright, so now we cut here. Setup. Oh no, sorry. My bad. Is the water extractor rigging blueprint. Setup. Cut.
One sec. Looking that up now. Since you're calling it the water extractor rigging blueprint now, I'm guessing this part
Alright, so we're going to do this now. So we're going to. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next part of setting up the water extractor rigging. So after you've placed the LV, so alright, it's cut here. And well, oh crap! What just happened? Oh, never mind. Screwed something up.
It looks like.
So after you've placed the, we'll mention that later in the tutorial. Alright, so the next part of the tutorial is the water extractor rigging blueprint setup. So after you've placed down all your water extractors in this specific arrangement, I've built these water extractor rigging blueprints that are specifically designed to fit in between the water extractors below. Unfortunately, I cannot put the water extractors in the foundation, but I could do the next best thing, which is I could build everything else around the water extractor for you, and that's what this is called, the water extractor rigging. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these 5 foundations in a row in the center, and we're going to line it up with the missing 5 foundations in the missing 3rd row of these water extractors. We're also going to take into account that when we move from across this dividing line between the 2 sets of 16 belts, we're going to flip the orientation of the water extractor
A quick
rigging.
undo, and we're back in business. You just had the whole timeline selected instead of that
Alright,
one
Phil, I need you to be
tiny
quiet. Orientation of the water extractor rigging. So you'll notice that the on this side, the input and output belts for the water extractor rigging are facing east. But if you go to the other side, it's flipped 180 degrees and the belts are facing west. So we have to take that into account, and that's because of that mirror image flipping that I mentioned earlier in the tutorial, where the alternating pattern gets mirrored after 16 lines. Okay, so let's place it down. So I'm going to line this up with the adjacent blueprints here.
mirroring 32 lines of logic across a divider while you're this tired. You're either a genius
Blueprints here with the adjacent blueprints here. Alright, so we're going to cut.
mirroring 32 lines of logic across a divider while you're this tired. You're either a genius or just asking for a manifold
So I
headache
pressed
later.
H and a
genius or just asking for a manifold
so I
headache.
pressed surf belt.
Manifold
So I
headache.
pressed surf belt.
Manifold
So I
headache.
pressed surf belt.
Manifold
So I
headache.
Alright, it's cut. Then we're going to go back and double check. Let's place it down. So I'm going to line this up with the adjacent blueprints here. So I pressed H, and I'm just checking to make sure that the orientation is correct. And it is, yes, this is correct. So I'm going to place it down like this. And if we go down here, we'll notice that the junction here that connects to the pipes above lines up with the water extractors below. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set up the power. So what I did here was I just connected these two adjacent ports here between the pumps to continue the transmission of power along these lines. Now, to power the water extractors, I've already provided this dangling cable from above, which is already connected to the packagers and this pump right here, so that means this is already powered. So I'm going to grab this connection and I'm going to connect it right to the water extractor. So again, the ground outlet, which is connected to this cable, is literally right next to where the connection for the water extractor is located for your convenience. So we're going to connect that like that. You should hear a connection sound. And we're going to connect all of these together like this. Here the water extractor is turning on now. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to now connect the pipes between this junction and this water extractor. Now they're not exactly at the same height. There's a slight offset. So to account for that, I'm going to press R and hold press and hold R, and I'm going to select noodle, which is the most flexible pipe connection, and then I'm going to be able to connect those together like this. Okay. And now I've made a connection between these pipes like that. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, except we're going to flip the water extractors in the other direction, which is this orientation here, which looks correct to me. So I'm going to place that down like that. Again, notice how the third row of foundations lines up with the other foundations that it's sandwiched in between. I'm going to continue connecting the power. So I'm going to connect these pumps together to transmit the power between these blueprints. Then I'm going to connect the power connections between the water extractors like this. Okay, so now all those water extractors should be connected. And then I'm going to select noodle mode, and then I'm going to connect these junction ports to their adjacent water extractors. And that should be it. Now that these packagers are now receiving water. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of this tutorial for setting up the water extractor riggings. Oh no, wait, sorry. Well, yeah, we are done with that. We'll move on to the next part. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of this tutorial for continue connecting the power. So I'm going to connect these pumps together to transmit the power between these blueprints. Then I'm going to connect the power connections between the water extractors like this. Okay, so now all those water extractors should be connected. And then I'm going to select noodle mode, and then I'm going to connect these junction ports to their adjacent water extractors. And that should be it. Now that these packagers are now receiving water. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of this tutorial. Uh, that's it. That's it. That's the end of this tutorial for setting up the water extractor riggings. Sorry, and next tutorial. So the next part of this tutorial, the next part of this, so the next part. Alright, we're gonna cut here. These packagers are now receiving water. Okay, and that's it. So the next part of this tutorial. Okay, and that's it. That's it. So that's it. That's it. Okay, and that is the Alright, let's get rid of that. Water. Okay, and that's it. So the next part of this tutorial is setting up the buffers with 600 limiters version 4 blueprints. Version 4 blueprints. 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 Alright, it's cut. We're making progress, Phil.
He builds up the suspense and then pulls a total blank. At least you've got the buffer limiter version 4 sign ready to go. Hopefully the blueprint actually behaves better than his memory tower looking so far.
Okay, so again, I do apologize. This blueprint is rather complicated, and showing it in pictures is not easy. Explain. This blueprint is rather complicated. This Alright, let's cut here. And we're gonna delete. Yeah, now that these packagers are now receiving water. Okay, and that's it. So the next part of this tutorial is setting up the buffers with 600 limiters version 4 blueprints. This blueprint is rather complicated. Alright, hold on. Limiters version 4 blueprints. This blueprint blueprint this try that. Or blueprints. This blueprint is rather complicated. So the next part of this tutorial is setting up the buffers with 600 limiters version 4 blueprints. This blueprint is rather complicated, and showing it in pictures is not easy. Explain. Actually, where is it? Oh, that's interesting.
Typical.
Oh, I didn't put it in my hotbar. Let's see if I can go find it.
Good.
Explain. Yep. In pictures is not easy. Explain. Alright, let's cut. Yep. Showing it in pictures is not easy. Explain. Oh. The blueprint got deleted. Uh-oh.
The silence
All
was getting
right.
so loud, I thought you'd retired. Good to see you're still awake and actually making a cut.
Yeah, I'm still awake.
Well, at least someone's eyes are open. Juggler's starting to think the stream froze because you're being so quiet. Hi, the sharp objects, everyone. Uncle Samuel is making another
So we're gonna
cut.
talk about setting up the the buffer with 600 limiter.
One sec. I'll take a look for that blueprint.
Sorry, I'm trying to add it to my hotbar here. So
Storage blueprints.
here it is.
Just don't. Storage blueprints.
Here it is.
Just
Cider. Here it is. So here.
Snare.
Alright, so let's cut right here. Okay, let's go back.
Trying to find
Junction
that one
ports
frame
to
you
their
actually liked? Good luck. If you go back any further, you'll be editing the footage from your first day of school.
And that's it. So the next part of this tutorial is setting up the buffers with 600 limiters version 4 blueprints. This blueprint is rather complicated, and showing it in pictures is not easy. Explain.
Friends,
Here it is.
just don't.
So the reason why we are using this blueprint called the buffer with 600 limiter version 4 is because the nuclear reactor blueprint version 4 is because it's cut the nuclear reactor blueprints have all 32 or no have all 32 water lines going up and down the blueprint called the buffer with 600 limiter version 4 is because the the nuclear the nuclear the nuclear the nuclear let's see if that works. Buffer with 600 limiter version 4 is because
Snip,
the
snip.
nuclear
If
reactor
only it were that
blueprints
easy to edit
have
out my charming commentary from your memory. Keep it up,
all
Uncle
have
Samuel.
have
You're
all
almost a pro.
32 or no have all 32 water lines going up and down the stack, and they're all connected. All have called the buffer with 600 limiter version 4 is because the nuclear reactor blueprints have all 32 or no have all 32 water lines going up or no have all 32 water lines going up and down the have all 32 or no have all have all no have no have all have all 32 because the nuclear reactor blueprints have all 32 or no have all 32. All right, let's delete this. Blueprint called the buffer with 600. Alright, Phil, be quiet. This blueprint called the buffer with 600 limiter version 4 is because the nuclear reactor blueprints have all 32 water lines going up and down the stack, and they're all connected horizontally in a linear manifold. And what happens is you have this problem where empty canisters will migrate between the lines. So some lines will be depleted of empty canisters, while other lines will begin to saturate and basically start jamming packagers. So this complicated device that I made is called the buffer with 600 limiter version 4. And what it does is it auto corrects for that empty canister drift that occurs as empty canisters migrate across the lines. And I'm going to be demonstrating how to set this up in this tutorial. So again, we have to also remember that that halfway between all the 32 lines, we are creating a mirror image of everything, or a rotation of everything. So for example, the water extractor rigging is rotated 180 degrees when you go across this transition point. So we also have to take that into account when we're setting up the buffer with 600 limiter version 4. So what we're going to do is for these water extractor riggings on the facing the south side from the dividing line, I'm going to place these buffers behind the packagers, and I'm going to lock this in so we can actually look at it more closely here. So this port is going to line up with the return line for the empty canisters that feed into this packager. Well, actually, I guess in this case it's not lined up. It's actually there's a 90-degree bend that happens here. So it looks like in this particular instance, it's actually lined up with the middle of the packager itself. So that's exactly what I have here. So I'm going to place the buffer with 600 limiter version 4 right here, like that. And I'm going to do the same for the other one. Oh no, actually, no, let's not do that because it's going to get too complicated. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, because this water extractor rigging blueprint is rotated 180 degrees, I'm going to put in these lifts here to force the belts to go in the other direction. Okay, so I'm going to connect like those right there. Then I'm going to put another lift over here. I'm going to line this up with the other side. Again, the only reason why we have these lifts here is because we have to conform the ports of the water extractor rigging with the flipping of the lines that connect to the power tower over there. Now once okay, and now we're going to do the same for the return for the output port for the packaged water. So we're going to make another lift here, and we're going to put another lift on this side. Then we're going to connect. Oh, sorry, I do apologize. This is not correct height with respect to the ones over here. So. Oh, that's interesting. These are different heights. Correct height. Yeah. Sorry, I do apologize. Then we're going to connect. Oh, sorry. What? Oh, what? Oh, sorry. I do apologize. This is not correct height with respect to the ones over here. So. Oh, that's interesting. These are different heights. I didn't even notice that. Okay, that's a bit confusing. I'm not sure why those have different heights. But okay, that's alright. I was tired when I was setting these up or something. The height doesn't really matter. All it matters is you have to get the lines rotated to the other side. That's all that matters in setting this up. So again, I'm going to connect. Oh yeah, this is something else you have to watch out for. Is you got to make sure that oriented correctly. Okay. Alright, and now that water, no, this is going to feed the empty canisters into these packagers here. And then we are going to do the same for the, we're going to do the same for, we are going, and then then, alright, let's delete that.
Consider it gone. I'm
Alright, Phil,
practically
I need you to be
holding my
quiet. Lift here, and we're going to put another lift on this side. Then we're going to connect. Then we are going to do the same for the packaged water that is going to the plant. Sure, these are the correct height. Like that. So now,
Looking at you go. 1 minute you're
Phil, be
accidentally
quiet.
nuking your
Like that. So now, these packagers are now connected to the lines that are going to feed into the power tower, which is going to be positioned over there. Now, you could technically let this run as is, however, to remove some weird edge case scenarios where these packagers could get jammed because of the migrating empty canister problem, what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate this complicated buffer with 600 limiter blueprint that I made that corrects for that empty canister drift or empty canister migration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm looking over here, see what the pattern is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this lift for the empty canisters. We're going to delete that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, looks like there's a little nub right there. Wait, hold on. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, looks like there's a little nub right there. Wait, hold on. I'm going to put, I don't know why this is here, but there's a little nub there. I'm going to connect these together like yellow there. Little nub right there. Wait, hold on. I'm going to put I'm going to I'm going to I'm we're going to cut right here. This lift for the empty canisters, we're going to delete that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I don't know why this is here, but there's a little nub there. I'm going to connect these together like this. So now the empty canisters from this buffer will now go into the packager, but I also need to connect the other side. So we're going to do that, and we're going to put this line right here. This line right here. Like this. Is that level? Yep, it looks level. This is that. Yep. There's a little bit of clipping there, so we're gonna nigger with it. Is that level? These together like this. So now the empty canisters from this buffer will now go into the packager, but I also need to connect the other side. So we're going to do that, and we're going to put this line right here. Like this. Oh, is that level? That looks level. This is, yeah. There's a little bit of clipping there, so we're gonna fix that. That's good. We're gonna fix that. Fix that. Something correctly. Not sure why. Okay. So this. So 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 so. Okay, let's clip there. And let's go back and check. So we're going to do that, and we're going to put this line right here. So this connects here, and then this connects here. So what I've just made is a bypass. So we're taking the empty canisters from the power tower coming into the packager. They would have normally bent around and gone into here directly, but we created this bypass where now they go into this buffer blueprint right here, and then they come in here. Now this buffer blueprint has a lot of different moving parts in it, and I'll try to quickly go through that. The first thing that happens is the empty canisters coming into this blueprint, they get hit with a 600 limiter using a Mark IV and a Mark II belt. The Mark II belt's inside of there. To force this line to not go faster than 600 empty canisters per minute. that helps mitigate some of the drift. And then it goes inside of this programmable splitter, and then it can go in several different directions. It can either go into this buffer storage bin here, or it can go directly into the packagers, or it can continue down the line to fill up other packagers that are starving for empty canisters. And that's loosely what the logic does, but there's some other logic in there to help with auto-correcting for any other additional issues. Okay, and so hopefully that made sense, and I'm going to continue setting up okay, looks like we have to set um, okay, and so hopefully that made sense, and I'm going to continue setting up um, continue setting up um, continue setting up. All right, let's cut. Okay, looks like we have to set up this water right here, so you can see the water, packaged water is going down this line, which looks correct to me. Okay. Okay, looks like basically continue setting up. Okay, looks like we have to set up this. Setting up. So hopefully that made sense, and I'm going to continue setting up. So hopefully that made sense, and hopefully that made sense. All right, let's cut right here, and I'm going to continue setting up. Okay, looks like okay, looks like all right, let's cut right here. Okay, looks like we have and so hopefully that made sense. Okay, looks like we have to set up this water right here, so you can see the water, packaged water is going down this line, which looks correct to me. Okay, and then we're going to continue the pattern here, so I'm going to continue the pattern here, so continue the pattern here, so I'm going to. All right, let's make a cut right there. I'm going to put the next buffer right here. It's going to be right in the center of the packagers in terms of alignment. Like this. Then I'm going to connect these lifts again to force. Okay. And then we are going to connect these lines together. And there you go. So now we have water, and they connect. Okay. And then we and then all right, let's cut there. Water right here, so you can see the water, packaged water is going down this line, which looks correct to me. Okay, and then we're going to continue the pattern here. And then we are going to connect these lines together. And there you go. So now we have water, packaged water going across those lines. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, but for this packager, and these buffers are now going to be placed on the other side. Okay. I recommend giving yourself enough room when you build this on your own playthroughs, because these buffers do take up a lot of significant amount of space, and you definitely want to make sure there's enough room for everything. Putting these down. Make sure there's enough room for everything. Cut right here. Putting these down. Okay, so it looks like I chose a different pattern here, and it looks like these are lined up with the ports on these. See, and chose a different pattern here. Okay, so it looks like take up a lot of significant amount of space, and you definitely want to make sure there's enough room for everything. Okay, so it looks like I chose a different pattern here, and it looks like these are lined up with the ports on these splitters feeding the empty canisters. The ports on these splitters feeding the empty canisters. Yep. Packagers. Okay. So we'll continue that pattern. Packagers. Okay. So we'll continue. It looks like I chose a different pattern here, and it looks like these are lined up with the ports on these splitters feeding the empty canisters. So we'll continue that pattern, and I'm going to connect like this, and I'm going to do the same over, or no, actually, I'm now going to just connect these together like this. Okay, so those are connected, and then those are connected. And then we are going to connect. So these are going to be much easier to connect. We don't have to do any loop arounds to get everything connected. So that's connected now. And then we're going to do the same for this one. Like this. This one is very close, so we're going to have to rotate this elbow here 90 degrees like this. And that, now they should be connected. And then I'm going to connect this line for the packaged water going up the stack. Okay, so those are connected. It looks like I forgot a connection over here with the okay, so those are connected. It looks connected. It looks they're connected. So those are connected. It looks like I forgot a connection over here with the power lines between the pumps. So I'm gonna connect those together. Now these water extractors should be turned on as well. Okay. So as far as I can tell, I believe that's it. And oh no, wait, sorry. There's one more thing we have to do. Now, no, wait, sorry. There's And oh no, wait. Sorry. There's one more thing. All right, so let's delete this. I'm going to connect this line for the packaged water going up the stack. Okay, so those are connect. Sorry, there's one more thing we have to do. Now, the way that this works is the drift is going to happen. So if I'm facing the tower from the power tower from this direction, then the drift is going to happen moving to the right. So these empty canister lines will be depleted of empty canisters, and then these empty canister lines are going to oversaturate with empty canisters, which means that when I'm connecting these feedback lines that do the heavy lifting for correcting for that drift, they have to flow in the opposite direction. So they have to flow from oversaturation to undersaturation, okay? And that's exactly what is happening here. So I'm going to connect a belt from this splitter to this merger like this. Then I'm going to connect this from this splitter to this merger. So what's happening is empty canisters that are rejected by the packagers will then start flowing along this feedback line to then start to populate these packagers, and the pattern repeats. It's essentially like a smart buffer, essentially. That's essentially what this system is. Okay, and then I'm going to move this, or I'm going to connect the feedback line to the other side over here to continue the pattern. Straight like this. I'm going to move or connect this here like this. Okay, and then I continue the pattern. So this, I'm going to connect this splitter to this merger, this splitter to this merger, and that's how these blueprints will autocorrect for that empty canister drift that I mentioned earlier. Okay. Alright, so I believe that should be everything. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here. Forgot. I think that's it. So we will now. Alright, so I believe that should be everything. Cut. Trying to see if there's anything else here. Forgot. I think that's it. So we will now go to cut. All right.
Yes.
Sorry, Phil. What are you gonna say? So the next part of this. So the next kind of this. So the next kind of. All right, it's cut. All right, so I believe that should be everything. So the next part of the phase of this tutorial is. Okay, I'll be right back. Gotta use the restroom. Okay, I am back. Can you hear me? Yeah, don't worry, I washed my hands virtually for you. Alright, so today I'm going to be ending the stream because I have to go take care of some other things. Thank you so much for hanging out today, watching me go through the boring process of do some video editing. I had a fun time doing it. This is literally just me doing it for the first time, and I felt like I did a pretty good job learning from the seat of my pants. But we're not done yet. We still got a ways to go. It's probably gonna take me multiple streams to do the complete video editing for this, but I think it's gonna be worth it. I think this is gonna be better tutorial than doing documentation right up. But yeah, take care. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.